presenting the AESIN ISO 26262 conference, which is very relevant to an awful lot of what we do here today. Part of my presentation will be really to discuss what the UK is doing in terms of connected autonomous vehicles. I chair the Intelligent Connected Vehicle Working Group for Automotive Council and leading the initiative around putting together what the government strategy should be in how we address the coming challenges but opportunities also of connected and autonomous vehicles. So I'll cover that, and I'll look at really the investment funding that's coming in and how we're applying that investment funding into the UK and where we see the real long-term opportunities for the UK.
Today I'm going to be talking about system design and concept design for functional safety and how we're designing processes within Tata Motors. And this applies to all business units, that's passenger cars, trucks and buses. I'm also going to look at how we analyse the concept designs, look at architectural metrics and use this as a comparison method for designs going forwards to distributed development.
Over the last 12 months I've worked on both ISO 26262 and IEC 61508 projects. In this talk I'll look at one of the key differences between the IEC 61508 and ISO 26262 standards. My focus will be on the phrase hardware fault tolerance, HFT. HFT is considered throughout IEC 61508, but it doesn't appear in ISO 26262. In my experience, the emphasis on HFT in 61508 tends to encourage the use of multiprocessor designs, but an otherwise equivalent design developed in compliance with 26262 would be more likely to be based on a single lockstep processor. It's clear that use of a small number of processors in a 26262 design may reduce unit costs, but what about safety? I hope that my presentation on this topic will encourage a debate at this workshop and perhaps even in the wider 26262 community.
In my presentation today, I'll be discussing about some of the challenges that we face designing in security into the automotive network. We hear regularly of issues of security attacks and hacks which affect the daily items we use and the infrastructure we use. To protect against these, we need to analyze our designs very carefully and to make informed decisions of the possible security countermeasures. Design by nature is very dynamic. It leads to the requirements of a set of processes and procedures which we can use horizontally across the verticals in the development chain. I'll touch on one of the aspects of ISO SAE, which will release an international standard which should address this area.
What I'll be talking about is basically we need to learn from experience. In the past there have been a lot of security breaches and it's important to learn from that experience. And one of the things I'll be talking about is there is a company called CERT, or an organization that is in place that has basically got a top 10 secure coding guidelines, and I'm going to be talking about these. And one of the most important is we have to validate imports from external sources.
So my specialism is in cyber threats and cyber attacks. I'm a security man, I've done it for more than 30 years. I do various systems that are required to withstand cyber attacks for more than 30 years, which I guess are in the order of 500,000 lines of code, so I guess I know how to do that. It's getting up to things beyond that tend to be very difficult and tend to be quite expensive as well, which again is not the target in this industry. From Thales we do various things from aircraft, so I have landed a UAV, or not me personally, but we have landed a UAV at Heathrow. Trust me, that requires quite a lot of working out the regulations and getting things to work and not succumbing to cyber attacks. But we also do railways and things of this nature as well as various other things.
Today I'm going to be giving an update on developments to ISO 26262. As many of you will be aware, at the moment the second edition of the standard is being prepared, and I'll be explaining where we are in that process, what the motivations are for updating the standard, and giving an introduction to some of the key changes that may impact you in your day-to-day work using the standard.